Welcome back, Bot Killers. It's Bot Kill TV. I'm your host, Michael Roche. And as always, we have the often imitated and never duplicated, the nature boy himself, Bot Killer. How you been?
Doing good. Yeah, feeling good.
Fantastic. We've got a special one today. It's kind of special when you get a Johnnie Walker Blue Label. So for all of the people who are kind of, real whiskey heads, whiskey anoraks, it's easy. It's easy to beat up Johnnie Walker. It's easy to beat up the Diageo. It's easy to beat up the Blue Label. There's a lot of conversation around it, and it's not always positive, but it still has that allure, right?
Yeah.
It never loses that allure. That if I gave anybody a chance to go like a Thompson's, bro, I'd be a 10-year-old Dalmore versus a Blue Label. People are always going to reach for the Blue Label because it still has that mystery about it. So I know Blue Label, usually just looking at the stats on YouTube, it always does pretty well in terms of views. Was this a shameless buy on your part to try and get some more subscribers on YouTube?
No, I'd never do something like that. Yeah, we need all the help we can get. We've been off the airways for a while. No, do you know what? Like, I think polarizing isn't the right word, because I think it's kind of like unanimous, especially amongst like whiskey traditionalists, is that like Blue Label's overpriced. It's not that great of a whiskey. Yeah, but like you said,
Well, I don't think people say it's not that great of a whiskey. They always say it's overpriced.
no, I think I hear a lot of people the regular Blue Label, and I'd maybe be inclined to agree on some of this, because you do hear sort of people say, "Oh, Green Label's the best one," and it's it's like a third of the price. You can pick Green Label up for in the 40s, £50 kind of range, a really good whiskey. But yeah, definitely it gets a lot of criticism for its price. But I've had one or two bottles of Blue Label in the past. This was one that I'd had my eye on for quite a while. So it actually came out in 2020. And one of the things that I love about it, I'm not even going to lie, is just the bottle. Like, the Ghost and Rare ones, and like this, it's got some Ghost distilleries in there. But I love the design of the bottle, and it's just something that you want to have on the shelf. And
It feels good. It feels good.
It's
The
nice.
bottle, yeah.
It is nice.
And so what made you sort of bite the bullet or purchase this week? Because you kind of told me, the Legendary 8 is arriving this morning, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a bit out of the blue." You haven't mentioned it before, but it is a little out of the blue, pun intended the second time. So tell me what made you pull the trigger this week?
Yeah, so the Legendary 8, like, as I say, I've always kind of been attracted to the Johnnie Walker Ghost and Rare bottles. And again, sort of heard mixed reviews about them. Like, the Port Ellen is the one that I'd want to go for. Like, at some point in my whiskey drinking journey, I need to get a bottle of Port Ellen on the shelves. Like, I've tried a Port Ellen, but I've never actually owned a bottle for obvious reasons. And then I suppose, even though like there's probably a teaspoon of Port Ellen in that blend, it's just the fact that it says Port Ellen on it and it looks nice that you want it. Yeah. But I read a lot of, I read a lot of reviews. I watch what a lot of other people are doing, because I want to get advice just the way that everybody else does. If you're going to spend over £200 on a bottle, you're going to go to the internet. You're going to try and find out, like, am I going to get quality for what I'm buying? And for most of the reviews that I read, Ghost and Rare was the one of the Blue Labels that came out on top. It was on sale, as I say. It'd been out about 4 years now, and it was £200. And I was like, do you know what? I'm probably not going to see it less than this. I had some Amex points, so I threw them in the pot, and I got it for less than £150, which is not far off what a standard Blue Label would cost. And so this was the one that I picked. This was the one I wanted.
Okay, good. Let's jump in.
Little story behind the bottle.
Well, I think the bottle's great, and I think for people who are collectors, to people who drink a lot of whiskey at home, then it tends to be one of these things where one of the compliments that we always get about this channel is the background, right? People see your whiskey library, and people always like, "Oh, that looks good."
Yeah.
And so it's if you've created a little space in your house to which is designated as your little drinking area, the place that you enjoy whiskey and it's one of your hobbies, why not pick some bottles that make you smile, that make it look good for you, that you enjoy being in that space?
Yeah, exactly. Every once in a while, like, it's nice to sort of push the boat out and make yourself feel alive, and
get yourself a little deer, get yourself a little box of wood, and everything else you got.
Why not? Why not?
Do it all.
So yeah, why don't we hop in and sort of give this whiskey a try? But Legendary 8, for people that haven't come across it, is it was released for the 200th anniversary of Johnnie Walker and features 8 distilleries that were around when Johnnie Walker was first created. So it's going to be a kind of test of my memory here, but I think the ones that are still active, you've got Blair Atholl, Lagavulin, Teaninich, and I told you this was going to be Oban.
Oh,
So that's the 4 active. Yeah, of course. 'Cause you know,
Oban.
yeah, but I was surprised by that because we've been there, right? And you almost don't think of it as a Diageo distillery
I told you not to talk about Oban.
Oh yeah, don't mention it. And then the other 4, you've got your Port Dundas, Carsebridge. I told you this was going to be a test of my memory. I think Cambus. Well, I said Port Dundas. Carsebridge, I think Cambus, Brora, I want to say. I think it's Brora is the other one.
Okay.
So, second guessing myself already. We only had 1 dram today.
And so just off the bat, do you know what you would usually expect from a Blue Label in terms of profile, in terms of palate? Because the last one I tried was the umami edition, so I've got a totally different profile to what Blue Label usually it is.
Yeah.
Just so I've got something in my mind to compare it to. What would be the normal profile for a Johnnie Walker Blue Label?
Trying to think of what is similar to. It kind of, I want to say that the dominant kind of whiskey in it feels like Kalila to me. So if you've got a bottle of Kalila 12, right? So you must have opened it and tried it.
Of course not.
So yeah, imagine if you had opened that bottle of Kalila 12 and tried it. It's kind of like that, but smoother, because with a blend, you're getting a different whiskey experience. Like they're designed to be more drinkable, more moorish. So, you're putting your grain whiskies in there along with your scotches to create the flavor profile. So it's a different experience to a single malt, right? That's what we're going for. So
It's a weird thing, but I have a rule: I don't drink peated whiskey alone. Peated whiskey only with friends. I just never drink peated whiskey alone.
Why?
It's just a rule. A man lives and dies by his rules, right? It's just one of my rules. I like peated whiskey with friends.
Fair enough. So yeah, I think the standard profile is like a smoother, more balanced kind of Kalila. It's got the smoke. Again, I don't find a huge amount of smoke coming through on this, so I'd say that the Lagavulin component is probably less, way more in the background, certainly on the nose. But it's a lovely nose. It's really nice. And again, it's one of those that you could literally sit there and just sort of like nose it.
Not knowing a lot of those distilleries, I know Oban, I know Lagavulin. A lot of those, and obviously the ghost ones, you're not to know. But yeah, I'm getting most Lagavulin on the nose.
That's interesting because I'm actually really struggling.
I am getting a bit more
to pick up smoke on the nose. I think it comes through
medicinal spice there. Yeah,
it comes through nicely on the mid kind of palate, and then in the finish you do get like some subtle earthy peat smoke, those tobacco leather kind of notes. But for me, the nose is all like brown sugar, citrus peels, like orange oil, citrus, vanillas, as you'd expect, standard kind of notes. But not much smoke. And then some apple, pear, softer kind of orchard fruits coming through there as well. Mm-hmm. Really again, sweet, caramelly. Really pleasant though. Really nice to nose.
So this is always the enigma of Johnnie Walker Blue Label, which is it's really thick, and it really has this mouthfeel to it, but it's actually very thin at the same time, isn't it? It's kind of this weird mix because it has that real, like, it has this like oily mouthfeel that really fills your tongue, but it's actually pretty thin. It's not one of the thicker whiskies that I've drank, which is kind of. It's kind of a
bit of a paradox.
A paradox.
Yeah.
These things shouldn't exist together, but they do.
They do, and it works. But it's like, I mean, obviously you've got the marketing aspect, and a huge machine behind Johnnie Walker. But there's a reason why it's been at the top for so long, and so many people drink it. It is quality stuff.
Well, it's got brand. It's got brand. It's got that to it. And that's why it sells so much. This is why people go to the airport and they kind of congregate around the Johnnie Walker Blue release at the time, rather than some of the others where the staff need to direct people to. But no, it's a very good whiskey. Like there's no denying it. Anybody that says it's not a good whiskey, don't take their opinion seriously, because this is really well crafted, high quality whiskey. And I know they say like one every 10,000 barrels, is it, or 10,000 casks gets selected, and that gets sent to the the Blue Label line, production line. And this is great whiskey, but it's just baffling me again. The paradox is baffling me.
Yeah,
because it's got so much, but it doesn't. But then again, the physicalness of it isn't there.
Yeah,
it's a mystery.
Well, I think it's designed to be smooth. Like I said, you're getting a different experience with a blend than you're getting with a Scotch, and we also drink a lot of cask strength stuff as well. This is one that 100% I would not even. I mean, we got the water dropper there. Like, I wouldn't even bother with that, because it's made to be drank as it is. It doesn't need any water. I think that's only going to take away from it. But I was drinking this last night. I had to obviously do a little neck pour, because I didn't want to open it for the channel and just get sort of blown away by the excitement of the first taste. So I was really sipping it slowly, savouring it. Obviously, because it's an expensive whiskey, it's not kind of one that you just like down it in 15 minutes, even though that's what we'll probably do for the channel. But the quality of it, I was like, it's dangerous, because you could literally sit there and like do half a bottle of it in and just not even notice that you've done it, because it's that good, that smooth, that balance.
This is a tough one, because we had the Teaninich 21, which you can see in the background there. We had before this, which was more of a bourbon cask. It says it's a ruby port cask, but it's really the bourbon that really shines. And it's the same with this, and they're two well crafted, such high quality bourbon whiskeys that I could get used to this. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be hard to like go back from this start, because this is just, I'm about this life.
Oh, it's so good. Like my brother, I sent a picture of the two bottles like on my table. I was like, Saturday night's looking all right. And he was like, which one's better? And I have to have another dram of the Tealinich before I can decide. Now I have another dram of the Johnnie Walker. And I was
said that was just for the neck pour.
Just maybe I had a little.
You said that was research.
Maybe just a little bit more than the neck. I couldn't just do one. Maybe just like couple, one of each, like two of each, maybe. And I did a lot of back and forth, and I really struggled to separate them, because I think you're kind of going into that age bracket. I think you said the minimum age for this one's about 25.
That's what the rumored to be.
Theoretically, it doesn't say.
So they don't want to commit to it, because it has to be the youngest whiskey on the is the youngest whiskey you can put in is on the age label. But apparently it's the minimum 25-year-old. Sometimes they throw in a lot older, because it just really it raises the bar of the whiskey. Raises the tide of the quality. Just throwing a few old things in there, which you'd expect, since there's a couple of ghost distilleries in there, so they have to be old stock. That is wonderful. I am completely blown away by that. That is, I don't know if I think that's all I can drink from now on. that is so good.
Yeah, it's just such a pleasure.
So just last month we went to Scotland. We went to the Mecca of Scotch itself, and we did a tour. And some days, which it sounds crazy when you say it, but some days we may have had like 20, 22, 24 different whiskies, right? Because you may go to like 3 tastings, they give you 6 each, and then you get one at lunch, you have a couple in the evenings, and have a few Guinnesses as well. I was a little bit whiskeyed out by the time I returned.
Too much of a good thing.
I've not really been drinking whiskey that much in the last month, and that's why we've not really done many new episodes either. But this is one that's, I'm definitely back on the whiskey train with these, because it's so good.
It's just, it is. It's an absolute joy to drink. the balance, the sweetness, like lots of flavors. It's got that complexity, even though it's a blend. You get some of the nice grains coming through. You do get that smoke as it kind of moves into the finish. Caramelly, brown sugars, leather, tobacco. Like there's a lot going on in this. But I think the thing that stands out for me is just the feeling. And I don't mean like just the smoothness and the taste and those flavors. They've really got it right with this one.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's legendary. My all my mouth was saying to my brow is like more. It's fantastic. It's dangerous in that way, like you said. Like it's so Moorish. It's so inviting. It's almost like it's like the whiskey equivalent to Cheetos in terms of the Moorishness of it. It's like you can't stop with that one. How you stopped last night, I don't know, because it's so Moorish. Fantastic. For me, it's an absolute buy. The question is, I'll ask you the question, which is it worth £200?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. Now, it retails at about 275, and obviously there's still enough of it going around to be able to get a bottle, and also it's on sale at the moment. So there's places out there that you can pick it up for £200. And I do think with some of these more premium whiskies, a lot of the time you are paying for the packaging. The glass is real heavy, like it's really well designed, and you probably are paying a premium for that. So it doesn't seem fair to me to kind of like compare on price and value. I think for me it's like, should you mark a whiskey down because it's more expensive? I don't think so, because the price doesn't affect the glass. Like if you had a glass of £200 whiskey and a glass of £30 whiskey next to each other, and you did them blind, you'd know the difference.
Well, I guess the question is one thing that we've been exposed to is many different types of whiskey hobbyists and many different whiskey fans. This seems like it's not for the people who are really interested in really interesting whiskeys. That like a little bit of funk, they like a little bit of dirtiness, they like a little bit rough and raw, or something that's going to be a little bit more challenging to them, like the Port Charlotte 18. Yeah. I would put in that category. They may find better value around that price point. For people that love classic whiskey and what you'd classically associate with Scotch, and you want an upgrade from, maybe you do like Blue Label and you want an upgrade, I think it's worth the upgrade if that's your market. If you're usually a Blue Label drinker, this is better than Blue Label in its original form. It's an upgrade. It is a more legendary upgrade. So yeah, that's how I'd answer it.
Yeah, the best way I could answer that question, I would say, is, do I feel disappointed having paid £200 for this bottle? Absolutely not. Like, have I got the experience that I wanted? 100%. Do I think that if anybody that's watching paid £200 and got a bottle, would they enjoy it the same? I do. So I'd say, yeah, you're like, it's not necessarily a question of price or value. Maybe it is value. Like, do I feel I'm getting what I paid for? And I would unequivocally say, hell yeah.
You know what I've never thought about, but this is interesting. The more expensive the bottle, probably the less you drink of it, because the more you want people to experience it and you share it, right?
So true, because I've given so many people the Glen Scotia 25, which is, it's kind of become my benchmark for whiskey, and it's unfair because a lot of the things that I drink, I'm like, it's okay, but it's not Glen Scotia 25, and I'm like, I could just like stack the shelves with that. If I had the money, I'd be like, there's no need for anything else. That's just what I'd have. So you do, like, because you're like, this is so good, I want you to see how good it is, and I've given you to try it, like Jay, my brother, like a lot of people have tried that whiskey for a $450 I paid for it, so, but it's good.
Well, we did it for an episode, so I did it for the channel,
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like I did the neck pour just because I didn't want to.
It's research.
Research.
So okay, fantastic. So I think we're done here. You take them out, bottle killer.
Yep. Well, thanks once again for joining us. I hope you had a good time. I've certainly had a good time. Michael, have you had a good time?
I'm blown away by this. I really am.
We'll see you next time on Bottle Kill TV. Okay, so Bottle Killers, as we always do on Bottle Kill TV, we've got a 2-minute review of the Johnnie Walker Legendary 8. Michael, can you kick us off, please?
Yeah. So Johnnie Walker Blue Label has a prestige. This is kind of a special edition Johnnie Walker Blue Label, so it's kind of going one above. And boy, does it go above! I'm blown away. I absolutely love this. This is kind of as good as classic whiskey gets in my eyes. It absolutely blown away.
It's an absolutely excellent whiskey. I think obviously with a blend you're getting a different experience to Scotch because it's designed to be drinkable, and it's absolutely like so drinkable. It's just got like a lot of complexity, so many different types of flavors going on. Whiskies from 8 very classic Diageo distilleries, and you will find things like your kind of your citrus fruits, your orchard fruits, your vanillas, caramels, lovely kind of sweetness from the grain whiskies that are in there. And then you do get like mild smoke, earthy smoke, tobacco, leather, all coming through like towards the back end of the palate in the finish. There's just a lot going on, and in that what is a very highly drinkable experience, you want to sip it, you want to savor it, you want to get and find all of those flavors. It's legendary. It really is.
See what you did there. And I'd like to be the whiskey anorak that's like, oh, Diageo, and the prices, and they're doing this to the market, and I want a whiskey market to burn. But you can't. I can't hate on it. Maybe I've got expensive taste. I don't know, but this is truly legendary. Everything I ever dreamed of. Love it. Yeah, Bottle Killer, take them out.
Yeah, so thanks once again. Please do make sure that you like and subscribe. We've got plenty of good reviews coming up on the channel. So yeah, once again, we'll see you next time on Bottle Kill TV.